Happy opening day, Birdland. Welcome into MASN All Access. We took a bit of a circuitous route to get here, but we got here nonetheless as the Orioles begin their 162-game slate down in St. Petersburg, Florida at 3:10 to take on the Rays, and we are here to preview not just that game, not just opening weekend, but the entire 2022 season. I'm Paul Mancano, and I'm joined by Brendan Mortensen, my co-host for today. Got a lot to get to, Brendan, but first, it's rare these days that we get a 162-game season, and it felt at times like we were not going to get there a couple weeks or months ago, but we got it, and we're grateful to have it.
Yeah, ready or not, opening day is here. There were many points in the offseason when we weren't sure if this was actually going to happen on time or happen at all, but very thankful that we actually have Orioles baseball here to open up the season.
And what is the Orioles 2022 season going to look like? What are some of the names that we're going to see and hear come through Baltimore during the next 6 or so months? Take a look at what this season has in store. Just a little preview for you.
About the crowd, you should have seen it when the Baltimore Bullets played downtown. And
it's been through Sarasota, Aberdeen, Bowie, and Norfolk. In 2022, the Orioles' future is arriving in Baltimore. And some of the game's future stars will be among the first to disembark. An injury kept him from breaking camp with the team, but top prospect Adley Rutschman should make his long-awaited Major League debut early in the season.
He came into this camp with an inside track to make the team. I think he's going to pick right back up where he left off, which was with a very clear shot to impact his team.
Pitching prospects DL Hall, Grayson Rodriguez, and Kyle Bradish won't be far behind.
The dream is to pitch in Camden Yards. It's been like that, ever since I was drafted by the Orioles. That's pretty special to think about.
All three could eventually join a rotation that's still anchored by John Means, now followed by free agent acquisition Jordan Lyles.
One of my main things I could bring to the table was to get deep into games and try and get some innings for the team.
Former top 30 prospects like Mike Baumann, Dean Kramer, and Zach Lowther will all get opportunities this summer. But maybe the most intriguing starter is a converted reliever with superb stuff. Burgeoning superstars Ryan Mountcastle and Cedric Mullins won't be taking anybody by surprise this year.
Home run, Ryan Mountcastle barreled that one up.
But at just 25 and 27 years old, respectively, the pair could be just scratching the surface of their potential.
It is gone. Cedric Mullins says, I don't care where the wind's blowing, I can still take you out.
While Kyle Stowers and Robert Newstrom wait in Norfolk, the outfield is crowded with young talent like Austin Hayes, Anthony Santander, and Ryan McKenna.
Ryan McKenna with a rainbow shot to left.
The infield is a mix of returning players and free agent additions. The Orioles will hope the likes of Jorge Mateo and Ramon Urias can improve, while Gunnar Henderson and Jordan Westberg develop on the farm.
Westberg cruises in with an easy double.
New to Brandon Hyde's staff are co-hitting coaches Matt Borg-Schulte and Ryan Fuller, but homers will be a bit more scarce at Camden Yards this year, through no fault of the Orioles' young hitters.
It is being done with the goal in mind of bringing the playing conditions at our stadium more towards the league norm.
2022 will be unlike any season Orioles fans have experienced in a long time.
This team is young and talented, and the farm system underneath it is young and talented, and anything can happen.
And as the Orioles reflect on the past 30 years at the ballpark that forever changed baseball,
it's 30 years of history right here at Camden Yards. It just seemed like a great time to bring that out, show people what we have, let people see it like we see it.
They also look ahead to a new era pulling into the station. Well, you heard some of the names in that piece there of guys who are on the opening day 28-man roster. It is 28 men for the first month of the season before it decreases down to 26. The Orioles going with 14 pitchers and 14 position players, a change from what was expected, where many thought they would go with 15 pitchers and one fewer position player. They don't yet have their 5-man rotation set. They have the first 4 guys set. But you take a look, Keegan Aiken, Brian Baker, Mike Baumann, Felix Bautista, Paul Fry, Joey Crable, John Means, Jordan Lyles, Tyler Wells, Bruce Zimmerman, Dean Kramer, Jorge Lopez, Cionel Perez, and Dylan Tate. Those are the 14 pitchers. Then you look at the infield. Trey Mancini, Ryan Mountcastle, Rougned Odor, Kelvin Gutierrez, Jorge Mateo, Ramon Arias, and Chris Owings. That's one more infielder than the Orioles went with on opening day 2021. 2 catchers. Anthony Bemboom makes it as the backup backstop. He will be behind Robinson Chirinos. And then 5 outfielders. A little bit of a surprise. Austin Hayes, Cedric Mullins, Anthony Santander, Ryan McKenna. Those 4 were expected, but DJ Stewart sneaks in for the 5th spot in that outfield. Now, Brendan, interesting decisions being made by the Orioles on their opening day 28-man roster, and it was all but expected that the Orioles would go with 15 pitchers, but DJ Stewart seems to be the last guy to make the roster as the 28th man, and that leaves the Orioles with 1 extra position player.
Well, look, I think it's entirely possible that if the Orioles hadn't traded Cole Sulser and Tanner Scott, maybe they go with 15 pitchers, because there were a few younger bullpen arms that looked really good in spring training. We saw Felix Bautista put up good numbers. Cionel Perez was impressive as well. You kind of had to put those guys on the 28-man roster to start the year, but you weren't going to cut Cole Sulser or Tanner Scott. So by trading them, maybe that is what opened up a spot for a DJ Stewart to make the team as a 5th outfielder.
And it seems like the Orioles might have to open up one more spot on that roster, as Mike Elias confirmed to reporters yesterday that the Orioles are working on a minor league deal to bring back veteran righty Matt Harvey. Pitched, obviously, more starts than any other Oriole last year in 2021. He comes back on a minor league deal. It is pending physical and yet to be signed, but the idea is he's going to work his way up through Sarasota. Didn't have a regular spring training, but Brendan, another move to add depth to this starting rotation, maybe used in the bullpen as needed. We thought that the Orioles might make a move like this a couple months ago, but what Matt Harvey has gone through this offseason as he deals with the fallout of the Tyler Skaggs trial definitely complicated things, but not to the point where Mike Elias felt the need to not bring back Matt Harvey on a minor league deal.
Right, and when you're looking at Matt Harvey, obviously the off-the-field stuff is not things that we can really comment on at this point, but you're looking at what he gave the Orioles last year, and that was innings. When you look at Jordan Lyles and the reason that the Orioles signed him this offseason, it was because he pitched a ton of innings last year, and we know this bullpen has had its fair share of struggles. So in Matt Harvey, you are getting depth, you are getting a starting pitcher that you know can at least go 4 or 5 innings in a game and at least try to take some stress off of your bullpen. Matt Harvey is probably not going to put up the flashiest numbers. His numbers weren't really pretty last year, but he's at least going to eat up some innings for you, which might be important down the stretch for the O's.
And for the listeners and watchers of the MASN All Access podcast, this does have free agency bracket implications. A couple months ago, we did a free agency bracket, and we did predict that the Orioles, of all the catchers available in free agency, would sign Robinson Chirinos. Did not have him winning the free agency bracket as Marwin Gonzalez took home the crown. He ended up signing with the New York Yankees, so staying in the AL East. And then we had Matt Harvey winning the pitcher division. So 2 members of our Final Four, even though Gonzalez doesn't make it and Andrelton Simmons did not make it onto the Orioles roster. We did pretty well, Brendan.
We did, and if only there was somebody on that Orioles podcast who said that Robinson Chirinos should win the whole thing, but, I'm not salty about it.
That was you.
It was
absolutely you. But you did also advocate for other pitchers over Matt Harvey.
I did.
Whereas Tim Leonard and myself stayed true to the board. In terms of Matt Harvey's signing and what he brings to the table, potential signing yet to be finalized, Mike Elias spoke with reporters yesterday and indicated that Harvey was close to a breakout after he returned from injury last year, right near the end of the season. And he believes he can carry that success that he had in the final month of the season into the 2022 season.
Obviously it's a very unique situation right now with everything that he was involved with that came to light over the winter. I think from our perspective, he did a lot to help us last year. I know his stat line wasn't the prettiest, but the innings that he threw, the luck that he had, and I think most importantly for us, the pro and the teammate that he was in helping us get through a very difficult season was something that we wanted back. We feel like he might provide us depth and he might be able to help us. And he was in the process of kind of unlocking some things coming off of an injury.
There's certainly an open spot available for Matt Harvey if he's able to take hold of it. As you see, the Orioles rotation for now, the first four are definitely set. John Means, Jordan Lyles, Bruce Zimmerman, and Zach Lowther. The fifth spot, we just inserted Keegan Aiken as of now because he did make the 28-man opening day roster. So you have lefty, righty, lefty, lefty for there in terms of the top four. But Brendan, Lowther did not end up making that rotation, and it ended up being Tyler Wells, the starter, now converted reliever, who gets a spot in the rotation. That leaves Bruce Zimmerman to start on the fourth day, which would be the home opener. So it's Means, Lyles, Wells, and then Zimmerman with the fifth spot being open.
Yeah, and when we talked about this rotation for the last few weeks, we talked about the fact that the Orioles are probably going to need to figure out the back two guys among their starting five. We thought Bruce Zimmerman was going to be in that rotation solidly, and we didn't really think about Tyler Wells because we weren't sure how serious the Orioles were about converting him from the bullpen to the starting rotation. But spring training made it very clear that that is the plan for Tyler Wells, and they really believe in him as a starter. And it was kind of a tumultuous journey for Wells. He hit back to Tommy John surgery, a canceled 2020 minor league season. It was a rocky road to get here. And I took a look back at how Tyler Wells ends up as now the Orioles' number 3 starter.
Tyler Wells wasn't selected in the 2016 MLB draft until the 15th round. Wells was forced to miss the 2019 minor league season with Tommy John surgery. 6'8" righty wasn't protected from the Rule 5 draft by the Twins in 2020 and wasn't selected in that draft until the second round. And upon being picked, despite being a starter for his entire career, Wells was asked to move to the bullpen and then back to the rotation. And yet, despite all of that adversity, Tyler Wells became a mainstay among Orioles arms. His fearlessness is nothing new.
I want to say a lot of it comes from the adversity I've gone through in my life, with my mom dying at such a young age and, my grandmother, who was a mother figure for me for a long time, passing away at the age of 16, moving around a bunch. I've always found a lot of comfort in baseball.
Only allowing runs in 15 of his 44 appearances in 2021, Wells was one of just 6 2020 Rule 5 draft picks to have a positive WAR last season. His main weapon was the fastball. Wells' 176 batting average against on his heater ranked 12th lowest in all of baseball and 4th best in the American League. With a 29% strikeout rate and just a 5.5% walk rate, Brandon Hyde gave Wells the chance to save games. His first challenge, the vaunted New York Yankees.
I'd be lying if I didn't say there was a lot of adrenaline going. It's pretty nerve-wracking. It's a spot that needs nerves of steel, and not being in that situation in quite some time, or frankly ever.
Now entering his age 27 season with a full year under his belt, Wells faces a new challenge, moving from the bullpen back to the rotation, which brought an off-season of ramping up his workload.
I'm looking forward to the offseason to be able to really kind of make those changes and continue to get better, and then hopefully come back next year and come back with a better plan and continue to try and get better each and every outing.
Very few teams even utilize the second round of the Rule 5 draft. In fact, in 2020, the Orioles and Athletics were the only teams to make a selection in that round. And in Wells, whether it's in the bullpen or the starting rotation, the Orioles have found a pitcher that belongs in the bigs.
Every time I go out there, confidence grows, and definitely learn more about myself as a pitcher. Building the confidence in yourself, at every single point in this season, I've never felt like I haven't belonged here.
So Tyler Wells was once a prospect in another system, and now he is the third starter in the Orioles rotation. Let's take a look at where some of the top prospects in the Orioles system are starting out their 2022 seasons. Now, you're going to notice that Adley Rutschman is not there as he is dealing with a triceps injury, and he is expected to report to Norfolk and get some games in under his belt there before he eventually gets the long-awaited call up to Baltimore. Grayson Rodriguez, he's starting out in AAA. First taste of AAA action for him. Gunnar Henderson is back at AA, where he finished the 2021 season. Colton Cowser is up to high single-A Aberdeen for the first time in his young career. Jordan Westberg back to AA Bowie as well, with Gunnar Henderson forming a fierce left side of that infield. Then you have Kobe Mayo, the exciting prospect at third base, who is up to high single-A along with Colton Cowser, kind of following in the footsteps of that 2021 draft class, even though he's a 2020 draftee himself. And then a couple guys up at Norfolk as well. Kyle Stowers, who finished the 2021 season at Norfolk. He stays there. He's already off to a great start with them. And then Kyle Bradish is also with the Tides as well. He got some action at AAA last year. Then Connor Norby and Cesar Prieto, both at high single-A Aberdeen. Going to be interesting to see how they fill that infield in, as they have two true second basemen there between Connor Norby and Cesar Prieto. Prieto, of course, the recent international signee. As Brendan, ton of talent being moved throughout the system. We were down in Bowie yesterday talking with some of the prospects there. Not only do the Bay Sox have Gunnar Henderson and Jordan Westberg, they have Joey Ortiz as well. All three of those guys are capable shortstops, as Kyle Moore, the new manager there, is having to deal with adding all these guys and giving them enough reps at these spots. It's going to be interesting to see up and down the system how the Orioles are going to find playing time for the numerous talented prospects they have.
Yeah, which is an incredible problem to have, right? I mean, all of these teams throughout the Orioles minor league system are incredibly talented. You looked at high single-A between Colton Cowser, Connor Norby, and Kobe Mayo. That's a lot of firepower there. And then you mentioned AA Bowie, the shortstop situation. Like I said, a fantastic problem to have. You've got to figure out a way to get Joey Ortiz, Gunnar Henderson, and Jordan Westberg's reps there. But it also probably increases their future value, as they're now going to be able to play second base or third base potentially as well. And then at AAA Norfolk, there's some just really exciting prospects that are right on the cusp of the major league level. We saw Grayson Rodriguez and Kyle Stowers in that graphic. Yusniel Diaz has been off to a great start at AAA Norfolk. Hopefully he can stay healthy and get up to Baltimore soon as well. And we saw Jahmai Jones a little bit last year. How will he perform at AAA Norfolk? So really exciting storylines across the board for the O's.
Not even to mention guys like Rylan Bannon and Robert Newstrom that aren't in the Orioles top 30, but could very well get the call at some point during the course of the 2022 season. And Mike Elias spoke yesterday with reporters about the excitement for this 2022 season and why it'll probably be unlike any that we have seen in Baltimore for quite a while.
We have a talented major league roster with a lot of players that have their careers in front of them. And we're sitting on top of the best minor league system in baseball, and those players are getting closer and closer to joining Camden Yards. So I think we view this season as one of importance, aspiration, hope for the Orioles as we start to demonstrate the product of the work that we've been putting in all around the organization the last few years.
So we turn our attention from the future to the near future, as in this afternoon. And let's take a look at the opening day lineup that Brandon Hyde has turned in. Cedric Mullins at the top. No surprises there, but some interesting moves as the Orioles don't end up going with Austin Hayes in the third spot there. They instead go with Trey Mancini. Austin Hayes is going to be batting cleanup for the Orioles today, as their opening lineup, Brendan, is going to be very right-handed heavy, as the Orioles are facing a lefty down in Sarasota, or down in St. Petersburg, rather.
Yeah, an interesting lineup today because you wanted to make sure that the splits were all right. So Rougned Odor not in the lineup for the Orioles. Instead, it's Ramon Arias who gets the start at second base, the right-handed hitter, going against the lefty Shane McClanahan. At catcher, Robinson Chirinos was probably going to start either way over Anthony Bemboom, but Chirinos, throughout the course of his career, has been a really good platoon bat, so he gets the start at catcher as the right-handed hitter there. There's only one pure left-handed hitter in this lineup, and he used to be a switch hitter, in Cedric Mullins, who's going to be leading off. And I thought it was really interesting, too. We'll see Ryan Mountcastle at the 2. I think most people were anticipating that maybe we see him in the 3 or 4 spot, trying to drive in some more runs. But Ryan Mountcastle, I think you can make an argument, could be the best pure hitter in this Orioles lineup right now, and Brandon Hyde obviously wants to make sure that he gets the most at-bats possible. So the 1-2 punch with Cedric Mullins and Ryan Mountcastle out of the gate, it's a pretty solid start for the O's.
Yeah, you mentioned Mullins hitting lefties very well as well. Remember when he made that move to just being a left-handed hitter, and the concerns were, how is he going to hit lefties? Turned out to not be a concern at all, as he was outstanding against lefties as he faces Shane McClanahan today. Yeah, very right-handed lineup, and Brendan, kind of the new school thinking, where the cleanup hitter doesn't necessarily have to be a superb power hitter, and that 2-hole hitter doesn't necessarily have to have incredible speed. He can just be a very good hitter because you're giving him multiple turns through the lineup, as the Orioles are going with Cedric Mullins, Ryan Mountcastle in the second spot. He's playing first base. Trey Mancini is DHing and batting third. Austin Hayes is in the cleanup spot in right field. Anthony Santander, the 5-hole hitter, is in left today. Ramon Urias gets the start at second base over Rougned Odor. Makes sense considering the O's are facing a lefty. Then Jorge Mateo, the opening day shortstop. Good to see that he's getting some opportunities, as still some untapped potential for Jorge Mateo. Robinson Chirinos, your opening day catcher, right-handed hitting. That makes sense compared to Ben Boom, who is a lefty. Kelvin Gutierrez at third base. And then John Means, of course, on the mound for the Baltimore Orioles in their season debut this year. And the Orioles play just 3 games down in St. Petersburg, Florida, before they come home and face the Milwaukee Brewers on Monday, beginning their first home series of the season. Brendan, you and I went on an exciting tour of Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Plenty to do and see and eat and buy at Camden Yards this year that were not options in 2021 and years past.
Yeah, the food really exciting, and I don't know, there's something new in left field that people have been talking about for a while. I don't know, I think people are excited to see it.
Yeah, new left field wall is what he's indicating there, if you didn't get the hint. Some exciting stuff happening at Camden Yards. Take a look at some of the new food options, merchandise, and new features of the ballpark as Oriole Park at Camden Yards turns 30 years old.
We are introducing our crab stuffed pretzel and our pepperoni pretzel, our Be More Surf and Turf, which is basically a Chesapeake sausage. We have some crab dip, some lump crab, and some potato sticks. And then moving over to our hot corner, first off our buffalo chicken, which is buffalo sauce, crumbled blue cheese. Then next we have our Capital City Mambo chicken tender with a little focaccia, little scallions, some garlic aioli. And then this is our all-American chicken tender, which is American cheese sauce, bacon bits, and a little bit of scallions.
People have asked us for years, how come you're not in Camden Yards? How come you're not in Camden Yards? Well, we're finally here. We're very excited. Our Mo Gabba shrimp platter. So Mo Gabba, if you guys all know, amazing Oriole fan, member of the Orioles Hall of Fame. We're going to be doing this at Camden Yards this year, and $1 from each one. The proceeds will be sent back to the Johns Hopkins Children's Center.
30th anniversary of the ballpark. So many opportunities there to us to provide some exclusive items to our fans. I'm really excited about a new company called Phenom Gallery, kind of limited edition exclusive prints. We're going to do 3 different prints throughout the year. Down in Texas, a guy that makes some home plates. Really, really cool. Cooperstown guys, Baltimore Orioles logos, again, exclusive to the ballpark.
Probably one of the first questions that we got. What are you going to do with the seats? How do we get a hold of them? And we're very excited to be able to offer them to Birdland members or fans or anybody in the general public who wants to own a piece of Camden Yards. And that's through our Orioles Charitable Foundation's Authentic store. And we'll have the opportunity to bid, and they can purchase them and take a piece of Camden Yards home, 100% of the proceeds to benefit charitable cause in the community. We do think it's important to take this opportunity to use a piece of Camden Yards to do something great with it.
It's 30 years of history of the Orioles right here at Camden Yards. There have been so many moments and players that have come through here. It just seemed like a great time to bring that out, show people what we have, let people see it like we see it.
This is Camden Yards. It's iconic. The ballpark that forever changed baseball. And whenever there's any kind of change, they want to know, what does this mean for me? But what does it mean for the team? And I think they're going to be excited. and I think our pitchers are excited, and I think that our outfielders are up for the challenge.
Brendan, I got to try the egg rolls that the Orioles are going to be debuting at the ballpark this year. I believe they were crab egg rolls, and I got to say, that is one of the tastiest meals I've ever had. It is going to be in the running, once I have it inside the ballpark, for one of the top ballpark foods I've ever eaten.
Wow. Top ballpark food ever.
It's going to be in the running. I mean, Camden Yards already had some of the best food available. Now they add Jimmy's Seafood. Now they're adding a couple options as well with a smash burger, which I'm a huge fan of. Brendan, this is going to be a great time to be snacking on food in Camden Yards.
I think we're going to have to sneak down from the warehouse a good amount while we're up here.
Absolutely. Of course, you can check out the MASN All Access podcast. We have plenty more to discuss, including our 2022 season predictions. Who's going to be the MVP of the Orioles, most valuable Oriole, MVO, I should say. Who's going to be the best pitcher, lead the staff in ERA. Where might some Orioles fit into the Rookie of the Year conversation in the American League? Could we see an Adley Rutschman fit into that conversation, or Grayson Rodriguez or DL Hall? Plenty of options available for the Orioles as they set to debut plenty of exciting players. And Brendan, we know that this season may not come with the kind of wins that stack up against their opponents in the AL East in terms of the Blue Jays and the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Rays, but in terms of on-field excitement and reasons to watch, reasons to tune in to MASN every night, the Orioles have plenty.
Well, look, we've been talking on the podcast for what seems like years now about these prospects that are down on the minor league level. We keep hearing about the high draft picks, the players that are playing really well in Double-A Bowie. And then this all of a sudden is the first year where, okay, we're finally going to start seeing some of these guys in Baltimore. We're going to see the fruits of the labor that Mike Elias has put into this farm system. And there's a reason that the Orioles are the #1 farm system in all of baseball. This is the year we finally get to start seeing it pay off a little bit.
Mike Elias said it best yesterday. We have a talented young roster, and we have a talented young farm system behind them, and anything can happen. And anything can happen in this 2022 season. We're just excited to get it started here the first week of April. Brendan, thanks so much for hopping on. @BrendanMorty is Brendan's Twitter handle. I am @Paul Mancano. Thanks to you for watching along throughout. Of course, you got to be sure to subscribe on all of our social media platforms, on @MASN Orioles, on Twitter, on Facebook. We will keep you updated. Brand new website as well on MASNsports.com. New look for Rock Kabako and Steve Molesky there as well, so tune in there. The Orioles taking on the Rays down in St. Petersburg, Florida. Pregame starts at 2:30. And then, of course, got to tune in on Monday for the home opener. And we hope to see you at Oriole Park at Camden Yards for the home opener as they take on the Brewers there. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks to Bobby Blanco for producing this show. And we will catch you next time. Happy opening day, everybody.